Kemi Badenoch has been elected the new leader of the UK's Conservative Party, becoming the first black woman to head a major British political party with a promise to restore the party to its founding principles.
영국 보수당의 새 대표로 당의 창당 원칙을 되살리겠다는 공약을 내건 케미 베이드녹이 선출되면서 영국 주요 정당 사상 첫 흑인 여성 대표가 탄생했습니다.
A lot of parties in that headline. Badenoch is actually the Conservatives. She's of the Conservative Party, the Tories. Yep. You're going to have to help me on this one, Sue, because I'm not as familiar with UK politics. But I believe Badenoch is the fifth leader of the Tories since mid-2016. So in about 8 years, there's been a lot of turnaround,
yes.
I suppose, in the party. But Badenoch replaces the former UK Prime Minister Rishi Sunak, who stepped down earlier this year after the party. There was a resounding defeat in elections back in July, saying that a lot of people are saying that the Tories have gone a little more to the left because they're more of a right-leaning party. So what Badenoch is promising is what conservative values typically mean are a shrunken state, so less government, as in the U.S., and there's been this sort of institutional left-wing thinking, she says, and it's time now to defend the principles of free speech, free enterprise, and free marketness. I think in modern day sort of parlance, we call this wokeness, where people are being more, they feel like that they're being restricted in what they can say freely because of sort of tending to everyone's needs.
This is really interesting because, as you said, she is the first black woman to head the Tories. Then on the opposite side, we have, of course, the Labour Party and, of course, the Prime Minister, Keir Starmer, is the head.
Yeah.
So the head of the ruling party is automatically the Prime Minister. And so that's why before the head of the ruling party, which was the Conservative, Rishi Sunak, was the Prime Minister.
So you could say she is now the leader of the main opposition party in the UK. And it's pretty exciting, you know, just in general, if you take politics aside, this week we could actually have major, black women in both the U.S. and the U.K. taking on potentially, of course, with a big asterisk, taking power and authority in these two major economies.
Yep, definitely. To head something is an expression that's used here.
Yes. So as a verb, to head means simply to lead, to act as the leader or the director of something.
자, 동사 head가 쓰였습니다. 그래서 무언가를 책임지다, 이끌다라는 뜻이 되겠고요. 영국에서는 학교의 교장 선생님을 그래서 headmaster,
yes.
아니면 headmistress 이렇게 부르는데 미국에서는 principal이라고 하는 것 같고 캐나다는 어때요?
Principal.
똑같아요?
But headmaster is used if you go to sort of private institutions. Oftentimes there could be a headmaster.
아니면 head teacher라고도 하는데 영국에서는.
Head teacher, but a lot of times the headmaster might not have day-to-day sort of duties in the school.
Right.
They might sit above the principal, sort of as the board, as a board member.
그렇군요. 조금 다른 의미인 것 같아요. 근데 이 head라는 게 그래서 우두머리라는 의미가 들어있기 때문에 동사로 썼을 때는 누군가를 이끈다, 어떤 사람들을 이끄는 그런 역할을 한다가 되겠어요. So she's become the first black woman to head a major British political party. And she says she's going to restore the party to its founding principles.
Its founding principles. So when you found something, you're establishing it. In the U.S., going back to the U.S. again, they talk about the founding fathers of the country. These are the people, the individuals that really established the U.S. with the Constitution, Bill of Rights, all that. And a principle is a fundamental sort of law or doctrine that this body kind of goes by, sort of like a code of conduct. It's principle PLE, not PAL, which principal, what we talked about earlier, the headmaster, that's sort of the leader of a school or something.
Exactly. principal이 이렇게 스펠링에 따라서 의미가 달라지는데 발음은 똑같은가요? principal,
yes,
principal?
they're exactly the same principles. In North America.
그러네요. 네, 생각해 보니까 교장 선생님 할 때 principal하고 원칙 할 때 principal이 발음은 같아요. 그렇지만 스펠링이 다릅니다. 여기서 원칙 스펠링을 알려드릴게요. P-R-I-N-C-I-P-L-E 이렇게 쓰는 게 원칙이 되겠습니다. Founding principles는 설립 원칙, 창립 원칙 이런 의미가 있으니까 그 창당했을 때의 그 원칙 그것을 되살리겠다라는 공약을 내걸었다는 얘기네요. Here's the headline again. Kemi Badenoch has been elected the new leader of the UK's Conservative Party, becoming the first black woman to head a major British political party with a promise to restore the party to its founding principles. Now let's move on to the next headline.
Khrystyna Bohomiahkova from Ukraine has set a Guinness World Record for the fastest 10 kilometers pushing a pram when she took on an event in Poland with her 1-year-old son in April.
우크라이나의 크리스티나 보호미아코바가 지난 4월 폴란드에서 열린 달리기 대회에서 한 살 배기 아들을 태운 유모차를 밀며 10km를 가장 빨리 달린 것으로 세계 신기록을 세웠습니다. So this is a Guinness World Record.
It is a Guinness World Record. You know, Khrystyna, she's been, or that's her first name, Bohomiahkova. She's an avid runner. She likes to jog in her daily routine. She's been doing it for over 2 decades now, she says. She's a big sports fan since she was very young, since she was a toddler at 8 years old. She's 33 now. But she says she spent 9 months running with her son to train for this record attempt. And she says that it's no different from whether she has a pram or not. And her winning time, this Guinness World Record of 10 kilometers, 37 minutes and 26 seconds. I've done a 10-kilometer run before.
You have?
She did it faster with baby in stroller or pram than I did without. So just to give you a little bit of perspective there. But she did say the most challenging part of this record attempt was when you're running against the wind or uphill. And she says she runs with her baby every single day and can go as far as 14 kilometers, regardless of the weather. I just hope that the baby is safe, is strapped in, because let's say while she's running, she hits a little bump in the road or a crack, and the stroller can topple over. Baby can get injured, but I'm sure she's taking the utmost caution in her endeavors.
I'm curious to know whether the baby was asleep or awake during this run, because 37 minutes is quite a long time for a baby to not cry.
Well, you know what? Oh, that's true, right?
So I was actually curious to know, what would happen if mid-run,
Right.
The baby starts bawling out or they're hungry or something.
Well, I suppose 37 minutes isn't that long
I
in
guess.
that case. But that's interesting you think that because from the baby's perspective, the baby's not going to remember any of this.
It's true. It's true. 그러네요. 자, 아기를 태운 유모차를 밀면서 10km를 달렸는데요. 그것에 대한 세계 신기록을 세웠습니다. 기네스 신기록에는 정말 별의별 게 다 있잖아요. 네, 뭐 많이 먹기 대회, 키 큰 사람, 키 작은 사람, 별의별 대회라기보다는 기록들이 있는데 이번에는 유모차를 밀면서 달리는 그 세계 신기록을 세운 겁니다.
If I remember correctly, we even talked about a couple of weeks ago a gentleman who set the record for having the most Guinness World Records.
Yes, that's right.
And I believe juggling was involved in that too, if my memory serves me
맞아요. I think he
correctly.
was American.
Yeah.
맞아요. 최근에 우리가 모닝스페셜에서 다뤘던 뉴스 중에 기네스 기록을 가장 많이 보유한 것으로 또 기네스 기록을 세운 한 남성이 있습니다. 그래서 신기하다. 이 기네스 기록을 수집하는 사람인가 하는 생각이 좀 들었었는데 자, 기록을 세우다. 영어로 뭐라고 하죠?
To set a record. Here we talked about setting a record. We talk about this in sports, of course, ad nauseum. You can say establish a record, which would be the same meeting. But, just kind of off on a tangent here, a similar expression but has a completely different meaning would be to set the record straight. Right? Which would be sort of giving a true version of events if something is being reported incorrectly or there's a mistake in something. So to set the record straight, you would say.
That's a slightly different meaning.
Yes.
자, 일단은 기록을 세우다. 영어로는 set a record, S-E-T, set a record라고 해요. 기록을 깨다는 break a record라고 하고요. B-R-E-A-K. 자, 그런데 별도로 set the record straight. 어가 아니라 the, 그리고 뒤에 straight를 붙이게 되면 뭐가 있냐면 이제 상황이 여러 사람들이 이 말 저 말 많이 하는 거예요. 그래서
Yeah.
오해가 되는 상황이에요. 그래서 내가 지금 여러 말들이 나오고 있는데 지금 이 자리에서 아주 명백하게 오해 소지 없게 알려드리겠습니다. 라고 할 때 I'm gonna set the record straight. 블라블라블라 이렇게 얘기를 하면 됩니다. 그래서 의미가 좀 다르죠. 그때는 제가 확실히 말씀드리겠습니다. 라는 의미가 돼요. I'm gonna set the record straight.
Right. So in that case, the record would be sort of facts, the
Yep.
truth.
Right. 그렇죠. 그거랑 이제 기록을 세우다는 조금 다르다는 거. 그렇지만 사실 다 이제 뭔가 기록하다라는 의미로는 똑같아요. 기록이 잘못된 것 같으니까
Yes.
제가 똑바로 기록이 되게끔 알려드릴게요. I'm gonna set the record straight. 그 다음에 어떤 신기록을 세우다. This person has set a new record. What about pram?
Yeah, we had a discussion about this before we came on air. A pram, I don't believe I've ever said this word before. And this headline must come from a UK publication because in North America, we don't say pram, right?
What do you say?
Baby carriage or baby stroller. Baby buggy?
Yeah, I've
that-
heard buggy in the UK.
I think that's a UK term
Oh, it is.
as
It is.
well.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Or just simply put, we can just say stroller. A stroller. These days in Korea, you see a lot of dog strollers.
Yes.
Right? But basically, it's a carriage designed kind of like a chair in which a small child may be pushed.
네. pram, pram은요, 영국식 표현인데 유모차라는 뜻이에요. 북미권에서는 stroller라는 단어를 훨씬 더 많이 씁니다. stroller가 되겠습니다. 그리고 또 아까 그 기록을 세우다 하면서 선생님이 굉장히 재밌는 표현을 쓰셨는데 You said in sports, this expression is used ad nauseum.
And not,
제가 이제 웃었거든요. ad nauseum은 라틴어인데요. 이게 의미는 토가 나올 정도로 nausea
Literally, that's what it means, right?
아니면은 nauseous 그러면은 약간 구토 증상
Yep.
몸이 아플 때 정말 나 지금 배가 너무
메스꺼움,
아파
kind
나
of,
너무
yeah.
메스꺼워 토할 것 같아라고 할 때 I feel nauseous라고 하는데요. 그것의 어원을 따서 라틴어 ad 그다음에 nauseum ad nauseum이라고 하면은 아주 멋있게 표현을 한 건데 좀 지겨울 정도로라는 뜻이에요. So in sports you said this person has set a record is used ad nauseum.
Right.
지겨울 정도로 스포츠에서는 많이 듣는 표현이다. 기록을 세웠습니다. 또 무슨 선수가 기록을 세웠습니다. 이러면서 좀 지겨울 정도로 많이 표현을 하는군요. 다시 제가 헤드라인 읽어보겠습니다. Khrystyna Bohomiahkova from Ukraine has set a Guinness World Record for the fastest 10-kilometer pushing a pram when she took on an event in Poland with her 1-year-old son in April. All right, let's move on to the next headline.
a powerful geyser of sewage has reportedly erupted from an underground pipeline in Russia, blasting wastewater and debris more than 53 meters into the air.
러시아에서 한 지하 하수도관이 파열돼 오물이 섞인 하수가 공중으로 53m 이상 분수처럼 솟구치는 일이 발생한 것으로 알려졌습니다.
Yeah, so apparently this video clip online shows this quote-unquote fountain surging for several minutes and spraying just contaminated water, debris over buildings, vehicles, public spaces. And it happened near sort of a busy intersection. And if you talk about 53 meters, to put that in perspective, that's about 17 stories high. So
Oh, wow.
that's fairly high, and it happened next to this high-rise building here in a nearby crane. Residential buildings and those under construction were just doused by this rupture in this Moscow district. And officials in the city have responded. And they said in a statement through a local media outlet that the incident happened due to a routine sort of air fumigation. They were doing some sort of work to clean out procedure in the pipes when this occurred.
우리는 이제 모스크바라고 하잖아요. 영어식으로는 두 가지 발음이 가능합니다. 지금 쉐인 선생님이 Moscow라고 발음했는데 그 발음도 가능하고요. 저는 보통 Moscow라고 해요. 이 발음도 가능합니다. 그래서 이제 모스크바에서 있었던 일이고 하수도관이 파열해가지고 오물이 섞인 저는 이제 악취가 얼마나 심했을까 하는 생각이 좀 들어요. 예, 그 하수가 공중으로 17층 정도 높이가 되는 53m 이상 솟구쳤다는 정말 놀라운 소식입니다. What's a geyser?
Yeah, a geyser is a spring that throws, water intermittent jets of this heated water, usually from the earth. As well as steam, and,
Yep.
you know, and when I think of geyser, the only geyser I know of is Old Faithful at Yosemite.
Yes. That erupts a lot, doesn't it?
I think
Is the word
there's
erupt right? Yeah.
erupt. Yeah, it you know, it
spouts.
spews
Spews. Yep.
sort of water into the air. I saw it. I saw it when I was young in cartoons. A lot of times, Old Faithful, but it's a natural event. But this water is extremely hot because it comes from below the Earth's surface.
아, 그렇군요. 이게 보통 온천 같은 거를 geyser라고 표현을 하고요. 스펠링은 geyser라고 합니다. 그래서 이게 하수이긴 한데 그게 마치 그냥 자연적인 온천수가 뿜어 올라온 것 같은 모습이어서 이렇게 표현을 하고 있는 것 같아요. And to blast.
Right. So this geyser is blasting this sort of wastewater and debris into the air. And to blast something would be to forcefully throw something in a direction, either by impact or some sort of explosion. When you think of a bomb exploding, there's a blast that occurs.
맞아요. 자, 폭발시키는 거를 blast, blast 한다라고 합니다. 자, 다시 한번 제가 읽어볼까요? A powerful geyser of sewage has reportedly erupted from an underground pipeline in Russia, blasting wastewater and debris more than 53 meters into the air. All right, well, that's it for our 5 headlines this morning with Shane.